I wanted to talk about this morning. Um, Fear was a dominant factor in my life for many years. And when I was a teenager, even before I was a teenager, um, fear truly did dominate my life. And because of that, I didn't think I had hardly any friends. Didn't really like me much, which is a terrible place to be, not liking yourself. So I was kind of an introvert, I guess, or a shy guy. I don't know exactly how to say it. And felt like I had no friends. I remember being in high school in that room or in the rooms, in this hallway, walking down the hallway and seeing all these people. And they seemed, to me anyway, to be having a good time in school and enjoying it. And I was miserable. I didn't enjoy it even a little. So eventually, because of that fear, I dropped out of high school as soon as I was able to, actually, when I was 16. Back then, they let you drop out and didn't really make you go to school anymore. I don't think they'll allow that today. So instead of school, I just went to work. So it was kind of my way of running away from it, if you will, running away from people, running away from life. And I found alcohol helped me, so probably when I was around 16 or 17, I started to drink. And it kind of bolstered my courage, if you will. Made me think in my own head that I was confident and able to, to be somebody who I could like better. It helped me to mask, if you will, the fear. And the fear would kind of go away when I drank. So it got to be pretty much of a habit. I'd go to work in the morning and work all day, but my thoughts all day were on, well, I can't wait to get home and start drinking. And so every night when I got home after work, I'd start drinking and pretty much drink until I don't want to say I passed out, but I was pretty inebriated, and then went to bed and then started the same cycle in the morning and did that for quite a few years, actually. I thought I was brilliant. I remember when I was drinking, I would think to myself, that I was a great arguer and that I was able to dominate people in that respect and win the argument. My wife even kind of kidded me about it. She would say that yeah, if you thought you were winning an argument, in order to keep the argument going, you'd just switch sides and take the other side of the argument simply to keep it going. And I guess I probably did that. I thought I was pretty smart, but actually I was just a fool. I remember envying my twin brother Terry, because he seemed to really have it together back then. He was an athlete. He had a lot of friends. He did well in school. He finished high school and even went on to a 4-year degree in college. He got a business degree. And I pretty much envied Terry. Thought that he had it all together. But bottom line was, I just simply didn't like me. That's what it amounted to. Very grateful for Kitty, my wife. She was my friend, my best friend back then. If it wouldn't have been for her, I don't know what would have happened to me. So because of her, and we got married, and I was still drinking at the time. We got married and we had a son. And because of my drinking, we nearly had an accident where we both could have been very easily killed. That was kind of my wake-up call that I needed to do something about my drinking. So I was able to quit. Thank the Lord, I was able to quit. Didn't have to go through rehab and all that kind of stuff, or Alcoholics Anonymous. I just basically just quit drinking after that accident, or near accident. So then there was a big hole in my life, because drinking had been such a huge part of my life. And so, but fortunately, I think it was the good Lord watching over me, because right at that time, through work, I was working for my stepdad. He was an electrician, and he had his own business. And he was getting up in years. He probably, 60, in his late 60s by that point. And he kind of wanted to pull back and at least semi-retire. So he basically gave me his business, and I had been working for him for 4 or 5 years by that time. And so I thought I knew what I was doing. And so we ended up in a partnership for a while. And that went pretty well for a while, and we were semi-successful, I guess you could say. And I was able to, along with Kitty, we were able to, have some successes in life. We were able to buy a house, and then we bought another house, kind of our dream house, if you will. It was an old farmhouse, and kind of, kept pursuing material things, if you will, for quite a while. But there was always this nagging feeling that, that life has to be more than this. So we went on like that for a few years, and then our son was growing up, and when he got to be a teenager, he sort of turned away from us and turned away from the Lord, and kind of started doing his own thing, and started rebelling and using drugs. And so our life was getting kind of bad for a while there, for quite a while. And so finally, I just kind of cried out to God for help. And I'd been brought up, Kitty and I both have been brought up in the church, and so it's not like we ever were non-believers, but God was just kind of, over there somewhere. He wasn't really someone we were pursuing and following fully. So I cried out to God when Joe was rebelling, and God answered that prayer. It was really kind of wonderful the way He'd answered that prayer through a series of events. I met someone who pointed out that I needed the Lord in my life, needed to be born again, needed to be made new. I didn't know what that meant. It wasn't part of the tradition of the church that we were attending. So it was all new to me. And even the Bible, reading the Bible was kind of new to me. But he pointed out that this is what I needed. So I kind of agreed with him that I needed God in my life. So I accepted Christ. And after that, things began to change. And I don't want to say that they changed overnight. They didn't. It took time. But now things were different. No longer did fear dominate me the way it had. I still had fear, and still do have fear, but now it's different, because I'm not relying on myself any longer. I'm in Christ. And because of that, fear is diminished, and God's grace is increased. So what I'm suggesting to people is that if you're dealing with fear in your life, and being intimidated, thinking poorly of yourself, thinking less of yourself than God thinks, then you're actually placing yourself above God. God thinks so much of us that he sent his son to die on the cross so that we could have life, new life, born again, be in him. Such a wonderful place to be. So much better than living in fear, having fear dominate our lives. It's not that I no longer fear at all, but fear no longer has control of me the way it once did. Probably even right now, if I had not been able to have Christ in my life, I wouldn't be able to be talking to you right now because fear would have dominated me and I would not be able to do it. I'd be too scared. So trust in the Lord. Trust in his promises. His promises are good and they're true. We can rely on them. So I just want to end with the promise that he gives us in Romans chapter 12, verse 2, which Paul is writing to the Romans, and he says, "Let God transform you into a new person by changing the way you think." God gives us his mind. If we read his word daily, we trust and follow in him, rely on his promises to us, and believe. So thank you for allowing me to share a bit of my testimony today.